Michael, Pittsburgh Steelers. See, I told you I deliver. And I was
Yes, you
talking to your
did.
son, and I'm like, and somehow it just, God comes out and gives us great guests. Our guest today is Coach Emerson Martin, former Pittsburgh Steeler, played other NFL teams as well. He was in the green room telling us stories about currently where he's coaching. Because when we talked X amount of years ago, maybe 3 years ago, Emerson, I think, and
Yep.
that's how we became friends and stuff,
Yep.
is basically you were finishing up a coaching stint. So
Yeah.
we're going to talk about a bunch of different things, but talk about, specifically enough your journey into the NFL. It wasn't the easiest journey, right? To get to the
Nah, it wasn't the easiest journey. Um, so I went to a D2. I played at Hampton University. It was a Division II school. Got a lot of accolades. But
Weren't you an All-American there?
yeah, yeah, I was a Kodak All-American for 2 years there, and on every All-American poll there possibly was for college. Yeah, so was All-American 3 year all conference first team. Um, did quite a few things. Did quite a few things. So was had a blessed career. I would say the hardest part was that my decision to go where I went. So coming out of high school, had an opportunity to play for Carolina or NC State. Chose a Division II school because back in back in the '80s, football it wasn't as glamorous as it is now. Some guys that played football had an off-season job. They didn't make a whole lot of money. It's not like it is now. Um, so I didn't really see that as a career. I saw that as something that I did. So I picked an institution. So I have a degree in mathematics. Picked the institution that I could go to get a great education and someplace where we're familiar with. And Mac Brown, the joke between me and Mac Brown every time I see him is that had me and Chester McLaughlin came and played for him at UNC, he'd have won a national championship. Of course, Chester went to Clemson and went and played with the Raiders. I ended up going to Hampton, went to the Chiefs, and then I retired as Steeler. But my route was because I went to a smaller school. Kansas City was really good to me. They paid me actually more than their fifth round draft pick as a free agent. So their projection that I would get drafted between the third and the fifth round, and they paid me as such. So I'm grateful to the Hunt family and to that organization. But I grew up a Steeler fan. So I grew up in the '70s. Everybody in my house was Steeler people. So to actually become a Steeler and finish my career, that was great. And I
Would you
tell
call that
people,
a dream come true?
I would say, because the highlight of my NFL career is not so much playing, but um, Terry Bradshaw came into town. We had a Monday night game, so they come in on Friday to do the interviews. And when I was at Kansas City, went to pick up my mother at the airport. Back then, you could just go in the airport and sit. And we sat down for about an hour and just talked. And to talk to a guy that you grew up watching in the '70s who won those Super Bowls and idolizing that guy, and him just sitting down talking to you like you're his equal was pretty dynamic. He gave me a lot of insight, gave me a lot of encouragement for where I was as a rookie at the time, and just told me to stay at it. And so that was a conversation that has incredible value for me, likewise.
Wow. And talking about you, so you were started with the Chiefs, then
Yeah.
you went to the Steelers for X amount of years.
No, so I
With the
went to the Chiefs,
Carolina,
and then
right?
I
yeah,
got drafted in the expansion draft. Went to Carolina, and so uh, who was in the front office? Donnie Donnie Shell was in the front office.
Of Carolina?
So yeah, he worked at Carolina, and so he came and talked to me, and they did a trade with me between. They brought in Walter Rasby from Pittsburgh, and I went to Pittsburgh. So we swapped places, and it's funny because Walter Rasby, my wife and his wife became friends, and so they were friends, and we were living in Charlotte because that's where he stayed. But he played in Pittsburgh, and then we end up being swapped. So that was kind of funny.
Interesting.
Was that the Blitzburg era already?
That was the Pittsburgh area. That's when
Oh wow.
so Capers had just become the head coach for Carolina, and uh God, the coach that the Hall of Famer from Nick, what's coach name? That played with Cleveland. The
For
defense, he was the defense coordinator for Pittsburgh at the time.
I forget who you're talking about.
oh
I,
gosh, he's a legend, right? He
Yes,
also
he's a
he played
legend.
a
Yeah.
yeah. I'm trying to remember his
So
name
we
now.
used to play pool together. He was a great golf player. Great golf player. But yeah, so that was my era. That was the Blitzburg area. That was Cowher was there then. Uh, Greg Lloyd was there. Kevin Green was there. Jason Gilden was there. Uh, we
How
had
about Rod
Levon Kirkland.
Woodson? Was he on
Woodson
that
was
team?
there too, yeah, because we went to the Super Bowl that year in '95.
Yes, Super Bowl 30.
Yep, Super Bowl
Neil
30.
O'Donnell.
Yep, all of us was Bill O'Donnell. That's
oh
right.
yeah. So speaking of that story,
Yeah,
and this is what I want you to go, Emerson, is the Super Bowl against the Cowboys because I watched Jerry Jones' documentary, which I recommend everyone watch. A tremendous documentary on Netflix. But to show the respect that they had for the Steelers in that story from the players on the Cowboys, saying how tough you guys had them played. It was two plays, or you literally would have won another Super Bowl.
yeah.
It's
So listen, nothing against Neil O'Donnell, but I believe he threw the Super Bowl.
Wow.
uh,
Wow.
Neil threw two perfect passes in that game. If you go back and watch the game, uh, 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 we had a receiver, Corey Holiday, running down the sideline with his hands up. And it's almost like Brown checked down at a spot. And Neil's perfect two passes were to Brown. Uh, we held uh, we held Emmitt Smith under 50 yards for the game. He had one
Yeah.
long run for 36 yards. So he had one run for 36 yards and he was under 50 yards for the game. If you take those two plays away, that Ron Brown returned those two picks inside the one was inside the 1 yard line and another one was like inside the 5. You take those two plays away, that's two touchdowns that they converted in that game. And they are totally dominated by us. And we're talking about a different story.
And that was
And
one of the great dynasty teams of Dallas. I mean, Troy Aikman,
yeah,
Moose.
but we should have won that game. We
Yeah.
should have won that game because we were the better team that day. We literally were the better team. We played better with the exception of two plays. Um, those two plays turned everything around. And I wouldn't say as much. I wouldn't feel the way I feel. But we all got on the plane afterwards and went back to Pittsburgh with the exception of Neil O'Donnell. He got in a limo with his agent. And that was the last time I saw him.
oh, because he leave after that year.
Yeah, he went to New York, went to the
The
Jets.
Jets, I think. Yeah.
So, I mean, you think at that time the money wasn't as big that he threw the game, got paid?
I don't know if he got paid, but I feel like he did play for us. I feel like, and that's my personal feeling. I thought Neil played great up until that point. And if it was nerves, it was nerves. I think it's just the dynamics of the way everything happened. When you look at it, that leaves a sour taste. When you go to a Super Bowl, you throw two interceptions, we all get on the plane and go back, and you get in the car with your agent, and nobody ever sees you again. Uh, you threw two picks to the same guy. He got an MVP. He goes to the Raiders. You go to the Jets. You get a 5-year deal, 25 million, which was huge in '95. And so, yep. And he never panned out to be the quarterback that he was in Pittsburgh.
Never. No.
No, he never came back to that. He never had another year like that.
What do you think you learned most from being with the Steelers organization for those years?
Um, the Steelers organization is, and people that have played there will tell you, is the most college-like atmosphere. Um, the league is a business league. You don't find a lot of guys hanging out and doing things together. The one thing about Pittsburgh is, and that's why a lot of guys go back, it's not necessarily the money, but it's the community. It's the camaraderie of the guys. Like I still talk to a lot of those guys. Um, so to be able to be in an atmosphere where guys were so close knit, and then the town respectfully being in that town, you could go out and be a part of the town, and it wasn't people didn't bother you. It wasn't like you kind of fit into the town. It's a hard working town, very close knit. The people there love the Steelers. The Steelers love to play there, and that is an organization that travels well. We never went to a city where there wasn't a Steeler presence, and so playing there, playing under Coach Cowher, playing with those coaches, Dick LeBeau is who it was. I was thinking
That's
about
it. Yes.
Yeah.
playing under those guys and being there with all those guys in that organization. The Rooney family was just an amazing family. We got a chance to go to Ireland with them, and he was just such a giving guy when we went to Ireland because he wanted everybody to experience his culture and where he came from. And so just that family. You know, I had the opportunity to play for two great owners, and Lamar Hunt and then Mr. Rooney. And I think the most of Mr. Richardson too, Jerry Richardson at Carolina. But I got to spend time with the Hunt family. I got to spend time with the Rooney family, and just just great people. It's bigger than the game.
Beyond the teams, your career, you've had a great career in that you've lasted a long time in a very, very competitive business, right? Not just the NFL, but also coaching after that.
Right.
What would you say are the top two, three things that you would consider the keys to your longevity and your success?
One is relationships. Relationships is the biggest thing about this business. People hire people they know, people deal with people they know. So you build relationships. And then it's what you put out. What you put out and what you give the people you get back. So if you're putting out the right things in the atmosphere, you get the right things back.
Now talk about coaching, the transition from football to coaching. You basically, as touted as a great coach, where do you think you gained your best knowledge in coaching that today that you continue to have this profession?
Well, in college, I had a great coach. So in college, there was a guy by the name of Frankie Smith who played for the Chiefs and played for some other people. Um, and it was just great being with him. He started everything off for me. Um, and so dealing with him first uh, would be the biggest thing. And what he taught me about the game, how he showed me the different things that he showed me. Um, that was big for me. And and then leaving him and going with Alex Gibbs, who's arguably probably the one of the best offensive line coaches. Alex and I used to meet in Kansas City every morning at at like 6:30 in the morning, and he broke down defenses to me and how you attack them, the strategies and everything behind it. And so that was really, really big for me. And that really helped show me everything as far as football and educated me on how to coach, how to attack defenses, how to do different things.
Interesting. And what do you think is your biggest strength as a coach?
Um, teaching, teaching, teaching. Uh, so I have a degree in mathematics, and I'm a teacher. So being able to group things and for me, I play football through angles, so geometry and what you do in football. So people don't understand this. Your body's a calculator, and so you calculate, you process more geometry walking down the street than most people understand. Every step you make is a calculated angle. Every person you see is a calculated distance. Every turn you make is a calculated angle to get around somebody or to get in front of somebody. The understanding how to pick up the tempo or how to slow down two angles passing by each other at two different speeds, when do they cross, being able to understand all those different things. You're calculating those things uh, so many times throughout your movement. On the football field, it's 100 yards long, 53 and a third across. And so when you look at it, how do you attack it? How do you get from one angle to another? What is the best approach for an angle when you're attacking a guy you're trying to reach blocking? Or you got to pin him outside? How do you do those things? What is the angle of bending in your body when you attack that guy? So when you think about mathematically, and I have a mathematical mind, when you think about those things, you understand, the angles and the way to pursue and how to do those different things. So that controls how you attack people and how you approach things. And that also helps with strategy. What are you trying to do on the field? When you have an open side, you have a boundary. What can you do to open side where you come back and forth and different things like that?
And as an now your current position, explain that to let people know you're offensive line coach,
Right,
right, for Delaware State University, and
right.
basically that you've had head coaching roles too. What do you like
Yeah.
about being an offensive line coach?
It's something that I played. Is kind of how the game starts for me. That's where most of my experience comes from. And so it's enjoyable for me to do that because I get to teach other kids how to do that and do it at a high level.
Mm.
It sounds like that's your passion,
It
teaching and
is.
sharing.
It is. It is. Uh, uh, about a year ago, I got licensed as a minister. And so I am a licensed minister now. So just giving back, mentoring young men is just a perfect setting for me and what I want to be remembered for and what I enjoy doing.
Hmm.
What,
Interesting.
as a coach, what has been your proudest moment, if you want to call it that?
Um, we did a company called Players and Pros. I think we talked about this before, Neil. And in a 3 year span, we put over 200 something kids in colleges all across the country. We got guys that went to Alabama, guys that went to Ohio State, guys that went down to Clemson because at any point in time, I could get a call from Nick Saban, Dabo Swinney, Urban Meyer asking me for the next guy that was coming through our system. And we helped a lot of NFL guys, ex-NFL guys, start coaching again because we were developing kids, put them on our website, and pushing them out to college. So that was really a great time, and we helped so many kids at that time.
If I
And
recall correctly, Dabo Sweeney is a big believer.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Yes, he is. He has a coach down there, Mike Reed. Mike Reed and I played together at Carolina, and so I have some relationships there on that team as well.
you have a lot of relationships, and that's what keeps you going and get the
Yep.
other coaching position. So, talk about Delaware State University and how proud you are of the team so far and how you guys have been competing.
Well, the thing about Delaware State, which is very interesting and something that I really love, was the fact that we had an opportunity to come to a school and turn it around. And we just didn't turn it around. We got here late, so we got here in February. We missed most of the recruiting, so we took what was here and we put our own spin on it. And putting our own spin on it and developing the kids. Coach Jackson really created a family atmosphere. He wanted a player-driven team, and in that, he created that space so that we really mentored the kids. We changed their mindset. We poured into them. We developed them. We taught them really big on technique, and and we took the same kids that were already here that were 2 years, 2 and 11, in the prior 4 years combined, they had only won 8 games. We won 8 games in one season. And so you took kids that didn't know how to win and taught them to win. And the beauty of what we did here is Coach Jackson wanted us to do what we do. He didn't micromanage. He always talked about it looking a certain way. And because if there was ever a thing where we don't have that kid, he's like, well, that's why you're here. So it's the challenge of being the best at what you do, finding a way to get the kids to understand and moving the needle. And we did a great job of that. Probably the best job I've ever had on a staff of men who are all focused on the better good. Mm-hmm. It wasn't about moving yourself up or using this opportunity to prepare you to another level. It's about men giving to each other and doing your job. And because we did our job, our kids did their job. And it ended up with a successful year. We didn't win the championship, which we wanted to. So now the biggest thing now is us getting the pieces together this year so that we can make a run for the whole thing this year.
Wow. Are you affected at all by the portal?
Oh, yeah, we are. We are affected by the portal. We lost 2 running backs. One went to Arizona State. And so that tells you how good they evaluated the kid that's been here for his entire collegiate career, been at a FCS school. They just paid him money and took him to Arizona State. We have another running back who's being courted by SEC and everybody else. So we lost those 2 running backs. We lost an All-American offensive lineman. We lost an All-American linebacker. We lost probably 5 guys total on our offensive line that are going on to bigger schools and doing bigger things. So that means we did something right. And it also means that we're in a business where we have to retool. But it also is a feather in our hat because there are guys that want to play on a high level. With 80 years of experience, a guy may not have an opportunity to go to a Power 5, but he can come and be coached by guys who are coaching the NFL. Mm-hmm. And because of those relationships, we had a ton of scouts coming in. So that helps us on the side of we are a place where guys can come, get coached the right way, and have an opportunity to get into the NFL.
So do you think that the talent is closer than ever if you're talking about a school like yours and how many you got to the highest level? Talent-wise, it's for a 3-star and a 5-star. They're very close, and sometimes people want 3 stars versus 5 stars when they come out. Yeah.
That's funny that you say that because when you look in the NFL, there's not many 5 stars in the NFL.
Mm.
Wow. All right, so we appreciate your time. Looks like it's a full-time thing as a coach.
Hold on 1 minute.
Oh, okay.
This is Donovan Warren, played with the Steelers.
Hello, Coach.
I wanted y'all to get a chance to see Donovan.
Hey, Donovan.
So, these are guys who interview me, a Pittsburgh fan. They do a big podcast.
Since 1974. Yeah. How about that?
Yeah. I've been since 73 because I was born in 73. So I've been a Steeler fan. I remember when I was 4 years old. So basically, how did you hook up with Emerson and the staff at Delaware State? Donovan. Can you hear it? Donovan.
He couldn't hear you.
Yeah. Okay.
But he's getting ready to step out.
All right. Well, thanks. Nice meeting you.
I'll connect
nice meeting you.
Yeah, you need to connect, and I'd love to have Deshaun on as well.
Okay.
And really highlight. But this is the thing. I was involved in an organization last year that I was looking to work with, and I was really we were about to do the marketing for this huge NIL deal. It didn't work out, but I'm so into it, Coach, because really it changes the game because these kids got to compete all the time because they have a chance to get paid now. What are your thoughts on that? And that's where you're seeing you lose kids in the transfer portal. And they go from your school to Arizona State, but at least then maybe they end up in the NFL. That was interesting. The whole thing you said about 5-star versus 3-star. You're telling me there's not lots of 5 stars in the NFL? I see.
Go and track it. Go and track it. Look at the history of it. Like you take J.J. Watt. J.J. Watt was a walk-on,
Wow.
that became a defensive player of the year. They're just not, sometimes 5 stars peak and they don't have any growth, whereas 3 stars, they do better. But sometimes it's just where you at. And it doesn't really matter. If you don't play, you can't get scouted.
Okay. So basically kids have an opportunity if they get to the next level in college to go wherever they want if they put the work in.
Yeah, well, now it's kids are coming to more schools like this because freshmen out of high school are not getting opportunities because of the transfer portal. So people have to go to smaller schools to get developed and then move up.
Interesting, because you're right, because they're not going to the NFL. They're not leaving as a junior. They're staying 4 years now because the
Right,
money's better than
right,
going to the NFL.
right.
What is your thought on throwing all this money out in the NIL?
Just a quick thing. The NCAA didn't get out in front of it. NCAA, which is it doesn't have any college. It doesn't pay for anything. It's a governing body. They are $1 billion industry that should have paid the guys across the board. They should have set salaries where a D1 guy would make $50,000-$60,000 a year. A D2 guy would make maybe a FCS guy would make 30,000. A D2 would maybe make 20. D3 would maybe make 10, and they would have been covered. They would have governed it, and it would have still been. It'd have been more parity in the league. Right now, it's like the old NFL. The teams that have the most money are the power teams.
Okay.
Like the Wild West.
Yeah,
Really?
absolutely.
Exactly. All right, Emerson. People can check you out on your Facebook, right? Is there any other place? Is that the best place?
Facebook. They can get me on Twitter or X. There's Instagram stuff out there. So yeah, there's a little bit of everything.
And what do you think the Steelers' chances are in the playoffs?
I actually think they have a good chance. I think they have a real good chance because of everything that's going on right now. The way the league is, especially in the AFC, there's not outside of Buffalo, everybody that's there is new.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that Aaron Rodgers, having him in the playoffs, gives you a good advantage versus some of these teams.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There are things he can do. And then with TJ coming back and Ironhead playing the way he always played,
Metcalf,
Smith, and all those guys, getting everybody back, and you got full complementary football. The defense, I think, will go in exceptionally well.
Okay.
And that bodes well for Pittsburgh.
All right. Well,
excellent.
We appreciate it, Coach. Thanks again for your time.
Thank you for joining us.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
God bless
All
you.
right. That was a special simulcast.